What is up, guys? AV17 here, back at it again with a brand new video. And it is 2026. Jesus loves you, and we're back. So, sorry about this video coming out later than expected. I did have thoughts of making this video close to release. I think it released September 15th, the game itself, but it's ended up being pushed out a bit later. So yeah, here we are. I was thinking of making the video a couple days after the game release, so it could have been maybe a little bit after, just to get some mechanics behind it nailed. But I don't know, it could have been a couple days, could have been a couple weeks after September 15th, I believe, is when the game released. But yeah, I don't have a script to follow for this video. This is just basically the first take. It's just I'm just gonna talk about it, and you guys can comment what you guys think. But yeah, so far we've had this game for a good 3 to 4 months. Around that, and I just sort of wanted to critique it. I don't think I've played any of season 2, but I have seen some of the updates. It seems like they add some environmental different environmental things into the game, like a spiraling section that goes above certain parts of the map. I think they added variations in the hand plant trick and whatnot, but overall, I really just think that I'm in the team that seems to think that this game seems to be more of a cash grab. It's definitely not the game that was promised. I think it's really rushed, and in many ways, for what we've been waiting for, I think it's pretty, what's the word? Lackluster, in general. And, the thing, I'll talk about what I think they got right. So what I think they got right is, to an extent, I think so considering they had to recreate everything from the ground up, and the Frostbite engine, I would say it's pretty good. I guess in that sense, there's definitely troubles. It's a bit troublesome, some of the mechanics in the game, and I feel like there's things that they could have done better. But overall, it feels like Skate, which I think is pretty good. The flick-it system is basically how you remember it, more or less. Although I think that the skateboard itself isn't tied to a certain limited amount of animations. I think it's just following physics, it's closer to actual physics than following a predestined animation. And I think the physics in it changes depending on how fast you flick it. They might have done this in the past games. I'm not 100% sure, because it's been a while since I've played Skate 3, and I actually can't play it because my PS3 had cockroaches in it, unfortunately, and it gave me the yellow light of death. But that's a completely different can of worms. But yeah, guys, this game, it's I would say it's mainly just a cash grab, and it's really trying to make money off of nostalgia and whatnot. And you have that sort of feeling, it feels like it's going to be another great Skate game when you play it, but it really isn't. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm trying to hate on it. But when I first started playing it, I was like, this isn't bad. But I did kind of have the realization, well, I feel like it's one of those games where I come back to it months later, or I kind of forget about it. And for the most part, that kind of has been the case. I kind of like download it, delete it, download it, delete it, and I kind of come back to it. Some people probably love it and they probably always play it, but you know, if they like this game, honestly, they should just find a way to play the older skate games, at least in my opinion. Although the story has never been a great part of skate, I feel like, you know, they at least tried, and they were more in touch with the culture, and they had lots of actual skaters like built into the story of the game, and they gave it like a unique journey and whatnot. But you know, they made a unique journey for each player, or at least it made it seem like it was tailored to each player's needs and whatnot. But this game's like completely different. It seems more like it's just sandboxy, but like it's like sandboxy, but like it's like, imagine a sandbox, and it's like there's like no toys in it, if that makes sense, or there's barely any toys in it. You know what I mean? Like it's not super fleshed out. It's really rough around the edges, in my opinion. I mean, they said it's early access, but you know, I don't get how they're saying it's early access, but they're marketing it in seasons. You know what I mean? I don't really understand that, because I feel like they should only flesh it. They should only have it in seasons if it's fully fleshed out. But, you know, I don't get how they you know, took like 4 years to make this, and they ended up with this, at least in my opinion. Well, I guess, you know, they had more time than 4 years, because I think the original skate game came out in 2010. But I guess because of licensing agreements and the fact that Black Box Studios, I think, went bankrupt and whatnot, or at least failed as a studio. I think because of many reasons, it only started around, like, being built around 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. And yeah, so about the way that the game feels, it initially, you know, feels a lot like the older skate games, but like you realize that, you know, there's things that just didn't make sense that you could do in this game that you can't do in the other ones. Like, you can get off your board in such a way to where, like, you can, I don't know, you can, it's like you guys have probably seen it a little bit in the beginning of the video, but you can like jump off and like fly like a squirrel almost, or not fly, but it's like you glide almost, but in a different way. Like, I know the other skate games are more ridiculous, and there is an upward trend of ridiculousness and being more and more unrealistic, I guess, in a way. But you know, I feel like the older games had a better grasp on balancing out the realism and the feel of, like, the realism, and also like the wacky parts of it, and also the feeling of actually feeling like you're on a skateboard and like simulating that in a fun and intuitive way, you know. And I feel like this game just misses that, like, a lot. It misses the market, like just a lot in general, in terms of having that same magic, replicating that same magic that they capture like lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? And I like how my character just fell flat on his board. In real life, that probably would have snapped the board in half. But yeah. So yeah, in general, you know, I'm very disappointed. I mean, I guess if you want to play something on next gen that's skate, you could play this, or even, I guess, current gen, because I always mix it up because I feel like the console cycles went by way too quick. Because I play on PS4 still. But yeah, if you guys want to play an experience that is like, they can only play on current and next gen consoles, not current. I meant, sorry, last gen and current. Well, yeah, sorry, it's not next gen. You just say current. Current is PS5, Xbox Series X. Sorry, I'm sure you guys know. I'm confusing them. That's off topic. But yeah, basically, if you guys want an experience that you can only play on current and last gen, then I guess this is all right. Like, an experience that you can equate to skate, I guess it's all right. And yeah, I've moved on from, or not fully moved on, but I guess I'll talk about the ridiculousness a little bit more, a little like later. But Or actually, I'll just talk about that now. Sorry, guys. I'm like thinking of this as I'm recording it, literally. Um, but you can like launch yourself and propel yourself off the board. Um, and it's like you're a flying squirrel, and it's very odd. And you could land on your stomach and like glide like a penguin, like on the ice, like, and you can carry that momentum and like hop back on your feet. And it's like really seamless, but it's also very odd though. Um, it at least feels smooth, but there is some jankiness still to it, and it feels like it's so unrestrictive to the point to where you can start seeing like the mechanics that like just failing in front of you. I don't know if they tweaked it good enough in season 2, but I feel like they haven't. I mean, you know, I feel like they more focus on the content, like trying to add more stuff to it that should have been there from the beginning, or not necessarily that. Well, I mean they focus less on like I feel like they focus less on like what you can actually do with your board and like the tricks and stuff, and they focus more on like the stuff in the map, like just adding stuff to the map. There seems like it's this whole area. I feel like it feels like more of like a loading screen area, but just turned into a massive map. You know what I mean? Like no one's familiar with any of these locations. None of these are iconic. None of them follow how they were in the old games. I mean, although it sounds like it, like, because I think it's Sand something or whatever the name of the map, Sand Ver something. It sounds like it has that California vibe or a similar vibe, and the other games do have that aesthetic. It still feels like a far cry from what we were promised, at least or at least what we thought we were promised, if that makes sense. I don't know, because they were pretty brief on the way they marketed it, and people could play like beta and alpha like versions of it and whatnot, but like it's still considered early access, but like it's just now that it's like it's leveled up to a point to where I don't know, we're just able to play it, and then this is what we have, and then what we're left with is pretty lackluster and pretty bare bones. And another crazy thing about the mechanics of the game is it's like you're breaking physics completely. Like in the other games, you could do speed glitches, where you, sorry, my controller disconnected. My controller disconnected just now, because I forgot it like turns off automatically after 10 minutes. But yeah, so something I find insane is the fact that like in the other games you could break the physics of it and make it like super unrealistic if you like make the difficulty easy and you do all these glitches and whatnot, and it's like the game would allow you to do it, and it's like it would add fun to the game and ridiculousness if you wanted to be. But in here, it's like they make the ridiculousness a mechanic that seems like it doesn't seem that fun, honestly. I mean, it can be fun if you're figuring stuff out with your friends, but really any game's fun with your friends trying to figure stuff out and do stuff. I mean, I have played with them, but it's like a game you pick up for a little bit and then you kind of just put it down and forget about it. That's what at least the impression I get. And I hate to sound judgmental, but it's just, to me, it's just the truth, I feel like they wanted this to be Skate 4 really badly, unless it was from the very beginning not Skate 4, because I don't know, I think they did just call it Skate even from the very beginning, like just Skate, and it's like, I don't know, it's confusing because it's the exact same name of the very first Skate game. Just Skate and then with a period. But like it's not the same, and it's not a reboot either. At least I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure, as far as I know, this is just a game that's a standalone thing, and it has nothing to do with the previous games. And by that same point, it's like it's got the soul sucked out of it. In my opinion, for newcomers, I guess it's gonna be okay because they don't have anything compared to, so I guess it could be fun for them. But still though, doesn't seem like it's really made for the diehard fans. It seems like they want to make a quick buck. They want to make a lot of money off of it. And they have microtransactions in this game. Doesn't seem like it's pay to win, which is good. But look, that's that the marker. That thing is spawning me on the ground. That's or I mean on nothing. It's like ground, but there's no ground. You know what I mean? Like it's very odd. Like it's unpolished. It's rough around the edges. Could be better. But yeah, it seems like this game is just following a trajectory of lots of mainstream, lots of games just in the mainstream in general. Like it's free to play. It's it's live service. They keep adding elements to it over and over and over again, trying to reel people in. It's catering towards like the most amount of people possible, so that they could make the most amount of profit. And like this is how the games get you. They get you to spend money on like little things, and then you think it's not a big deal, and then you spend more money. You know what I mean? And I just I want people to know what they're getting themselves into before they even get themselves into it. I'm sure this video isn't going to get that many views, but to whoever does reach, play the game if you want, have fun. But it's probably not. I feel like it's very short-lived. It's a very short-lived experience, at least from my experience overall. And something else I want to bring up was the fact that it's like you see the upward trend like that, what I was talking about. So I guess in a way you could have imagined stuff being this ridiculous, where you could just do all this ridiculous stuff. You could climb over on top of basically everything, which is another thing. This also is pretty weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it too much. I mean, in a way, it's cool. You can't climb on anything, but you can climb on like the designated areas to climb, I guess. But there is lots of designated areas, is my point. And yeah, look, you could fly like a squirrel like that. I'm just like you see, I'm just crashing into like buildings and whatnot. I don't know. It's a very weird experience. I've seen some crazy cool lines, people already using these mechanics and implementing them in their lines and whatnot. And yeah, it's cool to see people do this, but I feel like it's like weird. It's almost like an EA Sports type of thing, and also it is made by, I guess, EA, or not made by EA, but it has the EA mark on it or whatever. So I don't know. It's a company that interacted with the product at least, or they had to at least pull some strings. EA loves money. They everyone knows that. But yeah. This game just doesn't seem like it's for the fans. It seems like it's for money, and it's disappointing and sad to see, because I became a YouTuber mainly because of Jacksepticeye and ZexyZek. They both played Skate 3. I loved their videos. They inspired me to be a YouTuber. I'd say at the time it was mainly ZexyZek though, because he was doing so much Skate 3 videos and whatnot. And that's how my channel before this got deleted because of like a hacker thing. But I think I've re-uploaded like one or two videos, because I had them saved, but I think the rest are gone. Which is why that was a short-lived series of like deleted YouTube videos. I was thinking of making a video of like a series of videos that I was going to upload but didn't end up getting uploaded, or like it could be scrap video ideas, but that ended up not happening. But basically what I'm trying to get at is like, the at least Skate 3, because I was only exposed to the other Skate games like 2 years ago, like on my birthday when I got a PS3, and I actually got the other Skate games, tried them out for myself, and I liked them, and they were intuitive in their own ways, and I could see why people like Skate 2 better than Skate 3. But the majority of my experience is from Skate 3, and it's like a massive game in my childhood. I've beaten the story before. The map in that game is also just way better in my opinion. It's like it flows better. Um, there's a bigger sense of verticality here because of how ridiculous stuff is. I guess to an extent it's better in that sense that you utilize more of the environment. I guess in that way. Um, but it's like I feel like you utilize it more, but in such a shallow way, if that makes sense. Like there's only so many things you could do, and people seem to be skating more or less the same way. Something that I discovered. Lots of people just tend to do stuff. They tend to do the same similar things. I feel like you know if you were doing multiplayer battles and whatnot in Skate 3, you would see everyone doing their own style of trick lining and whatnot, and they would take advantage of the environment, and that environment was tailored to like the specific limited tricks you could do and like the types of lines you could do. But here it's like I guess it can apply, but not as much because it's like either way you can't really. There's not even those mechanics to have like fight like matches against other people. I mean, you kind of can compete, but it's like you have a perimeter. It seems very scaled down. It seems like a very scaled down, watered down version of Skate. It's very sanitized. It seems very corporate. That's what I don't like about this, and it's very disappointing. And I don't like that. It seems to be like the future of gaming and where the gaming is heading, or at least has been heading since like Fortnite and whatnot, and PUBG. Live service, free to play, microtransactions, all that. All that jazz. But yeah. Like, look how ridiculous this is right now. Like, I'm just gliding around. Like, you could do stuff like that similarly with the Hall of Meat stuff. But people would usually only designate it for those things. The Hall of Meat thing. It's not even in this game. They don't have the thing where, you can see all the bones you break. And you could even see it when you're not doing Hall of Meat. It could still show it. And there was cool moves you could do, like in the air, and not just emotes. They were kind of in a way emotes before emotes were a thing. Because Skate 3 was supposed to be more of a socially tailored game compared to Skate 1 or Skate 2. Skate 2 had social elements, but Skate 3 had more. And I don't know. It's just that like the emotes and whatnot. Also, by the way, that was me trying to do a glitch. I'm pretty sure it's like a weird glitch where you get launched into the sky. I don't think I was ever able to do it, but I would just spawn to my friend, and then I would like spawn above the sky with him and whatnot. But yeah, sorry, this is all scattered thoughts, but right. So like, look at this. Oh yeah, and you could do flips. I think. You could also do infinite flips when you're instead of like having a limited amount of flips you could do, which is even more unrealistic. It's like when you're doing like a kick flip. I'm pretty sure you just do them infinitely until you fall. In Skate 3, it was more realistic. I think you just had like 3 or 4. I think you could do like on how many times you could flip the board underneath your feet, and then you would catch it, and then that'd be it. But it's like, I don't know. It's like I feel like they revamped like too much of the goofier, or not even goofier. Because it had charm. Skate 3 had charm. There was a lot of cheat codes you could put in, like to make yourself smaller. Play as Isaac from Dead Space. There was the zombie cheat codes where everyone was like a zombie, and it made a filter change different on your screen. Well, people didn't really look like zombies, but I don't know. They would like hit you and stuff, and they would get mad easily. And that's another thing. The NPCs. Actually, I don't even think there are NPCs in this game. That's a completely different thing. You could at least interact with NPCs in the game, and they, the woman would zap you, and the dudes would push you. I think the woman would push you too, but they would mostly like. Oh, so I just said zap as if you guys know what that means. But I mean, like, they would shoot you with what's it called? A stun gun. You know what I mean? Like a taser. And it would have like this comic book text like zap and all this stuff, and it was funny. And they had all the NPCs had a rage meter and whatnot, and they would chase after you and whatnot, and they would keep, they like wouldn't stop until you were like, I guess, out of sight, or they calmed down or something. And there's like also a cheat code to like make it look like you're skating without wheels. It's like the hoverboard one. They had all these cheat codes. It's like it had charm. There was grit too. Like it had a gritty aesthetic. Even in Skate 3, they still maintained it. It was a bit more polished looking, and I guess the graphics were better. But they still had a gritty aesthetic. I think Skate 2 probably had the grittiest. But like, if you like took enough falls and whatnot, if you took falls, you would see the accumulated dirt and like cuts on your character and whatnot. And that was really cool to see. Look, that's what I was talking about. You just like, it's like you're a penguin sliding and gliding along your stomach. What you guys just saw. Look, it's like you're acrobatic, doing all that weird stuff. It's weird. It's like you're Rubber Man or something. Like you're just made out of rubber completely. But yeah, it's like this game just doesn't really have that much soul. It's very odd. It seems like, if the other skate games didn't exist and this just came out, then it's as if like there wouldn't need to be context needed needed to understand this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like if the other skate games didn't exist and this just released as a standalone thing, just completely without having the other games involved, it wouldn't matter, because it's like the only thing it carries over is the mechanics, like some mechanics at least, like of like the flick it system, But like other than that, it's like what else has really been carried over? I guess doing spread eagle, but I don't even think they call it spread eagle anymore. That's another thing. Like it's so soulless. I think it's mainly, I think it's because of the fact that Black Box got bankrupt, and then it got carried over by, they had like one original person, I think, who at least joined and developed this game, and yeah, that was about it. I think there was like one, like I think the creative director, but I think he was probably pushed by executives to make this really polished and whatnot, and it ended up not being what it was, like what people expected it to be. So yeah, it's just unfortunate, and it seems to be reflective of the era that it came out of, I guess, of like licensed free-to-play live service games, with microtransactions and whatnot. It's like, it's dumb mechanics, catch grab, and it caters to like the most amount of people possible. I'm not saying all free-to-play service games are like that, but I'm saying that this one seems to follow that model, like beat for beat, note for note. You know what I mean? Not all of them are like that, obviously, but I do feel like, the like for the most part, it's like it does follow a similar like trajectory. It's like it does seem dull. Like I feel like lots of them are dull in general, I guess. But you know what I mean. Yeah. First video of 2026, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you guys in the next same time video or live stream. Jesus loves you.